You talked about timely and accurate books, which of course is a major problem. And one of the things I see, not bearing in mind that a lot of our guys are actually not, they're new construction, but maybe not the building. They've got a commercial electric warehouse. They're doing electric wiring and so on. But two things that I find people really have problems with, even if they intend to do well, is tracking inventory and then managing things like deposits. So I'll have guys, I call it roller coaster profits. I see it all the time. One month you're up 100,000 net profit. The next month you're down 5,000 net profit. Then you're up 72,000. Then you're down 100,000. Then you're up 200,000. And they go, I'm done looking at my books because this is insane. And a lot of the problem there is that people buy materials and they expense it the day they get it. And it's not really an expense because they haven't done any work and they don't have anything to bill. And then they also get a deposit 50% down. I got to order all the materials. They put that in revenue and it's not revenue yet. So it's one of the, even people who get it, it's one of the enduring problems is how to manage that. Even if they're using good bookkeepers, and I love accountants, but most accountants I wind up dealing with are concerned with taxes. And all they care is at the end of the year, all the pluses are at the top and the minuses are after that, and we get a number. Yeah. Those are totally useless for management purposes. And so how do you see guys handle inventory? I'll tell a story real quickly. Working with an electrical contractor who's about a $5 million guy. Went up, interview, we were talking, he just hired me. I'm at his shop, never been there before. I said, do you have any inventory? He goes, no. I said, okay. And we went on. I said, well, let's go look at the shop. Open the door into the shop. It's 8,000 square feet of floor to ceiling pallet racks full of stuff. And I said, well, what's this? Oh, that's stuff. We bought it. We always buy some extra and we buy these GFCIs and I got a few cases. Don't know where they are. So when we need them again, we go buy some more. And had him count all that. It was about $200,000 worth of inventory. Yeah. So the reason I'm telling the story is that even if he had been trying, which they were making a feeble attempt, and kept books and said, yeah, I keep books, they're completely incorrect. And I don't know if they're incorrect because he overstated expenses, so he made more money than he thought, or incorrect because he received deposits and put them in as sales, and that wasn't really his money. So overstated, one understates, one overstates, and then you have all kinds of combinations. So how have you helped people manage inventory and deposit combinations? So how have you helped people?
All right. So first of all, under current liabilities, there is a deposits under current liabilities. If you get a deposit on a job, that's where it goes. It does not go into revenue. All right. It can go into your operating checking account. I prefer you put it in a savings account, but that's neither here nor there now. And I do a thing that I explain to them. It's called financial statement fruit salad. And so financial statement fruit salad is you have revenue in one month and the expenses for that revenue in another month. So when you put, if January is your apple month and February, and you've got your revenue in there, and February is your peach month, because I'm in Georgia, you put them together, you have fruit salad when you're trying to job cost. I make them job cost. All right. So we need to know our overhead cost per hour. We know what the net profit per hour is on all the jobs by the time we get done. And most of that, unfortunately, a lot of the smaller ones, you're right, they don't, quote unquote, have inventory. And then I explain to them, if you ever want to sell your business, your profits are less than they are by the amount of inventory you have. And now, is somebody buying your business going to tell you that? No, they're just going to pay you less.
Right.
So I also suggest, and in the beginning, this is cringed, but barcoding. In electrical, it's harder because you have all the little parts and pieces. You almost have to do it by box. Wire nuts, or you don't count the wire nuts because it costs more to count the wire nuts in there. But if you've got a box of wire nuts, you inventory that, or you put it in consumables or something along those lines. But I hate to say force, but most of the time they kind of get it. When you hit to be $1 million or $2 million, you have people in there that you have to track what they're doing, and they kind of get it. Sometimes it takes getting stolen from before they do it. I had one service technician fund his entire business from the inventory of his boss. And the only way we found out about it is his boss went to his house one day and saw his garage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff happens all the time. And once you're doing that, and once you don't have what I call a warehouse supermarket, which is everybody has the run of the warehouse, there is somebody who is responsible for inventory in the warehouse, getting it set up properly, getting it managed properly, ordering properly. You have to use POs. I mean, you have to have a real business.
Right. And at $1 million in revenues, I found that that's a real struggle for people because the owner's not going to do it. And he or she has 5 electricians and they're not going to do it. They have to hit some critical level of revenue with margins and profit to be able to do this. And one thing I just talked about is a method of doing it. We're kind of in the weeds here. I don't know if people are going to run out and do this because we're talking about it here.
Okay.
But you can count your inventory at the end of the month and your bookkeeper can make an adjustment. So you expense it all, but you go count it. And we don't have to know how to make that adjustment. It's not hard. Somebody can do it. And you say, oh, what you said, I'm not going to count all the wire nuts. I go, no, do it by box it, do it by fixtures. But here's what else will happen is once you count it every month, you start to organize it. Once you start to organize it, you don't have to count. You've got 9 boxes and it's just whether or not you have 10 or 11. It gets easy to count. You can do it in 2 hours.
That's right. Yes.
And
once it's organized,
you know what? Yes, you know where it is. So when the guys come to buy $1,000 worth of GFCIs, they know where to go get them instead of going to the warehouse or going to the supplier and tying up another $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one way. Then the difficulty on deposits, you're right, putting it in a liability account. Somebody has to have some talent to take it back out when you invoice.
That's the bookkeeper's job.
Right. I can just show you hundreds of bookkeepers who don't know how to do that. But
they haven't passed my test. I wouldn't have them as a bookkeeper.
Well, that
I have a bookkeeping test.
Oh, you have an actual test that people can take and they have to pass.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, okay. It was actually done by the American Institute of Certified Bookkeepers. And they give a test to anybody. And if you can't pass that test, you do not hire that person.
Where can people find this test?
I've got it. If you go to AICBA, I think it is. It's also there. It's free. Use it. And yes, they do have the answers too.
Oh, no, that's excellent because I find it just gets to be a mess a lot of times. And then there's also work in process, partial billing.
Let's not go there.
Well, if you're doing bonded jobs, you have to do that.
Work process, yeah.
But most people who get big enough to do bonded jobs have reached a point where, matter of fact, that's your bonding company is your friend because they make you do a bunch of stuff you don't want to do. But their interest is that you not go broke. Yeah. And it's your interest not to go broke. So do what they say. But those complicated things can really distort your financial statements.
Yeah.
And we need somebody else to do it.
Yeah. And I also have a bookkeeping course, online bookkeeping course they can take. I mean, so many wives do the books, and I've seen so many divorces because wives are doing the books over the years. It's 18 segments and just do it.